Hello and welcome to Scr1tno Knitting Project. My name is Sharon. I'm just trying to go into the my normal introduction there because I am about to record a podcast, but I wanted to get this done beforehand. This is about the Scr1tno KAL and what we're going to do at the end of this year and what we're going to do going forward. First of all, let's start with the end of this year. If you get to 366 squares, absolutely amazing. I'm going to have a link in my bio on Instagram and in the Revelry Group, and if I can I'll put it below this video, which will take you to a Google form which is going to ask you for some information. I'm not going to keep it. Once the KAL is over in January, I will delete everything. But basically, if you finished your first year blanket, so the blanket you've been working on this year would be your first year blanket, whether it's 1 year old or 10 years old. For the KAL, it's your first year blanket. If you finished it, if you can fill it in that form, then I'm going to do you like a little certificate that you can download and print off. So that will be the end of the KAL. Obviously I'll draw prizes for the finished object thread and Instagram as normal, but this is just a little extra for those that have done like the full 360. So you'll have 366 or more. Obviously if you've started a blanket you might have more than that. Do I need to say anything more about that? I don't think I do. That's sort of clear enough, I think. So yeah, so if you've got 366 squares or more on the 31st of December in January, and I won't probably finish it, I won't sort of finish with the form until at the end of January to give me time to sort them all out. Yeah, let me know, take a picture. I don't know whether I can get you to attach pictures to the form yet. I'll get back to you on that one. But otherwise I'll just have to put you all on your honour. I think most of you are pretty honourable people, if I'm honest. So that is what we're doing for the end of this year. Don't worry if you haven't finished your blanket. I'm going to come on to that now. So going into the KAL next year, if you've finished your blanket this year, so if you've got 366 squares, so if you finished the KAL this year, that's the important bit, not the blanket but the KAL, so you've got 366 squares, or stripes or quilts or whatever you're doing, you've got 366 of them or more. You can then go call that your first year blanket, and you've got two choices. You can either work on that blanket next year, and I will work out the squares accordingly, so there'll be 2 square totals you can go for, or you can start a fresh blanket if you want to. So for instance, January will be 366 plus 31, which is 397, I think. That would be your check-in if you were a second year blanket, carrying your blanket on. If you are just going to do your second year blanket but you're starting from fresh, that's fine. It will be 31 squares. Well, the end of it, I mean, to be fair, January is a really bad thing to use because the check-ins aren't till the end. Well, the first one will be the end of March. But I should have worked the math out on this before I recorded this video, but I haven't got time to sort that out now. So basically, you can either carry your blanket over and it will be a second year blanket, or you can start a new blanket and that will also be a second year blanket. So that's if you finished your blanket. If you haven't finished your blanket, don't worry. It will still be classed as a first year blanket. That's okay, no problems with that. And you could carry that on into the second year, into this next year, and you'll still be working on your first year blanket. Now, if, for instance, you fell off right at the end and you've got 200 odd squares, well, you're going to be laughing through the first 2 check-ins. So that's fine. And it's the same with if you're currently working on a blanket and you want to take part, absolutely whips are allowed. And you know, it is, the check-in will be at the end of March, at the end of June, the end of September, and it'll be the final check-in will be the end of December. So if you've then done your first year blanket and you do next year's, you'll have a second year blanket and you'll be able to get a second year certificate. So that's where I'm going with that, really. So you can kind of get certificates with your blankets. And as I said, it doesn't matter if you start a new blanket, it doesn't matter if you carry on your old blanket, and whips are perfectly allowed. With this KAL, you can jump in at any point during the year. I am going to be working on my Christmas blanket. I was working it out this morning, So I'm personally going to crochet a blanket. I've done, I think, 80 squares on it already, so that doesn't quite take me to the first check-in, but by the time I've done a square a day up to that, I'll be breezing that one, so that'll be cool. And I kind of want it finished by Christmas, if I can, next year. So I'm hoping that will incentivise me to get it done. It did occur to me that I was like, oh, but I would have finished it in December, and you know, it's not supposed to be finished till the end of December, which is not a problem, but you know, that's not a problem. If you finished your blanket and you've got 366 squares, that's fine. And the way I'm doing that blanket, I'll actually have 400, so I should have, my goal is to have 400 by the 1st of December. And then for December, I will either work on an existing blanket, which will probably be my Battenberg one, because I'm thinking I might take that into the following year. I mean, I'm not only am I planning next year's blanket, I'm planning the year after's. Also, I could say a northeasterly counts as well. So if you're doing like a little section on a northeasterly, absolutely counts. So yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing next year. But yes, going into blankets that count. Knitted blankets, crocheted blankets, quilts. So yeah, anything you're going to be doing on a regular basis, any blanket you're going to do on a regular basis, and that includes quilts. I mean, if you have 365, as it is next year, hexes by the end of the year, that would be quite a nice size quilt. Something else you need to know, you do not have to join in your squares for the check-in. As long as you've got your squares. So yeah, if you could just lay them out on your bed so I can count them, that would be great. But they don't have to be joined together, because I do appreciate if you're crocheting something or quilting, you're not going to want to attach them all together until the end. So that's fine. Just so, you know, we can see that there's the squares that are required for the check-in. But I think you're all pretty honest people, to be honest. It's I don't think I have to worry too much. Now Kelly of Lay Family Yarn is doing a rainbow, it's called the Rainbow Chronicles Club, and I'm also planning on doing a crochet blanket, probably a corner to corner like Kelly's doing. Oh no, Kelly's doing a stripe. I'm planning on doing a corner to corner, but I won't necessarily work on that every day. But yeah, so you don't have to work on them every day. It's called the square a day count. The idea is that we do work on them. You do a square a day. I will try to. There are some days where I don't manage it and I get fall behind just like everybody else. I have no clue whether I'm behind or on schedule at the moment. I haven't counted my current one, which is living in my lovely big... I'm just going to show this on the podcast in a minute. So yeah, if you've got any questions, can you leave them down below in the comments, and I will, if I've got a lot of questions, because I've not made this clear, because it's clear in my head, but whether it's come out that way, I don't know. If I have a lot of questions, I may do another video, or I will try and answer them in the comments. I want to get this out. I mean, I'm hoping it's going to go out today, if I'm honest. I want to get this out ASAP so that it doesn't get lost amongst all the Vlogmas videos. So yeah, and I will have it sort of like its own little playlist kind of thing, and hopefully I'll link it from the podcast as well. Yeah, so Square a Day 2021. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really excited. So right, I'm going to say goodbye because I have a podcast to record before I start work.